to see that. Now, there are many other natural anomalies that when the right mixture of energies are combined, they help to enhance paranormal occurrences and experiences.
And our spirits.
Can you guys stay down, please, for just a little bit? Thank you. I don't know. Sorry about that, folks. We have had a lot of studies of occurrences and experiments, ghosts and spirits can draw their energy from many different resources. Some of these resources do include electrical storms, power lines, geomagnetic fields, and underground waterways. Now, a few of the more well-known of these anomalies would include thunderstorms and full moons, which is where we will begin our next discussion here. Now, during a thunderstorm, it is believed a higher vibrational frequency is reached by not only the living, but also the non-living. Thunderstorms that contain higher amounts of lightning create extra energy within the atmosphere by charging the air with both positive and negative ions that spirits or entities can feed from, which help them to manifest, which then increases one's chance to capture paranormal activities during these times.
Well, lunar phases, like full moons, they also affect Earth's geomagnetic fields due to it being closer to the Earth itself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it causes the tides to rise and fall by the pull of its gravitational force. Now, studies have shown that the period of new moon or full moon plus 3 days before and after the actual new or full moon tend to have a much higher level of paranormal activity.
Very interesting.
Well, it also has an effect known as moon madness, which is when people and animals behave very strangely and even aggressively during these moon phases. Now, ghostly activity is thought to be affected and enhanced by the moon phases and the gravitational pull it creates. It's even been suggested that the light the moon creates during this time, paired with the way our bodies are affected by these phases, they attribute to the higher paranormal evidence that is collected during these times.
Nice.
In ancient beliefs and practices, thought the spirit world was more noticeable during the phases of the moon and would use it as a chance to perform rituals to speak to the spirit realm. Now, it's said that the best time to experience paranormal phenomena is 2 to 3 days before or after a full or new moon.
Yes, because that's when everything is like really amped up.
All that energy.
Absolutely. Next, we will discuss both solar flares, solar X-rays, and solar storms in relation to paranormal evidence and occurrences. Solar activity can affect the Earth's geomagnetic field as well, most commonly occurring within 1 to 4 days after a solar flare. Now, there will be an influx of slower moving energy, which results in a geomagnetic storm. In direct correlation with the intensity of the solar activity, the variation in the geomagnetic field can be quite substantial. Now, solar flares occur when a large flaming flare shoots out from the sun, rising into space, then it crashes back onto the sun's surface. When this occurs, massive amounts of solar X-rays and cosmic radiation are forced outward from the sun and make their way back to Earth. In doing this, it raises the level of energy within the Earth's atmosphere, causing the geomagnetic field to become unsettled. Now, a higher amount of energy within this air creates an increased number of paranormal sightings. In fact, some of the best known paranormal evidence has been found during an X-class or mega flare and geomagnetic storms. Class M and Class X solar flares are the strongest source of energy for spirit manifestation. However, like any spike within these fields, will give extra energy to the entities and help to increase their activity. Now, solar storms, they also have this effect on the Earth's magnetic field, but to a larger degree. Both occurrences cause rapid vibrations or variations in the geomagnetic field, which caused by a spurge of positively charged ions being introduced into the Earth's atmosphere. And during these storms, there is an increase within the Earth's electromagnetic field and the amount of energy in the Earth's atmosphere. This in turn gives the spirits a large amount of energy to feed off of, allowing the frequency of paranormal phenomena to increase. Now, I know this sounds a little confusing and a whole lot of information.
It is a lot. But it all makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And what causes like certain days of the year, or you can just see when some of these atmospheric things happen, the increase, or especially in sightings, and not just ghosts. They're doing this with UFO sightings and all. So with some of this stuff,
We may have to do a personal study right here at the jail.
yes.
Well, during times when the geomagnetic fields are low, spirits can tap into other conventional energy resources to help them manifest and communicate.
Okay.
Some, which we are familiar with.
Yes.
Now, they would include such things as electrical appliances, power lines, and batteries.
Batteries, we all know too well.
We do. Which is, why many of our cameras and recorders become drained so quickly in some incidents during our paranormal investigations.
Yes.
A few other environmental factors that can enhance one's paranormal experiences include the solstice and equinox, barometric pressure, and even humidity. The solstice and equinox that occur every year also present more opportunities for extraordinary paranormal investigations with above normal activity.
Yes.
Cultures around the world believe these times are of supernatural importance.
Especially, which a future show will talk about, the witches and the Wiccans also do a lot with during these times.
Yes, they do.
Speaking about barometric pressure, it's also been proven to intensify the energy of charged particles in the air. Now, it's the result of molecules in the air colliding. This collision of molecules in the air produces the electromagnetic energy. Now, of course, and you would be detecting that with all your little meters and stuff.
Right.
Now, the higher the barometric pressure, the faster and the more intense the molecules in the air collide, producing more electromagnetic energy for the spirits to draw from and to use.
Well, humidity, it's the measurement of water vapor within the air.
And we know about that too here in the third floor during the summer.
Way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when water changes its physical state from one to another, energy is involved. Water vapor itself has a high energetic state. Now, energy is absorbed during evaporation and released during condensation.
And we know about the condensation.
Oh my gosh. So the process of the water condensing into rain, it releases energy that can be used by the spirit world, which may help to explain some investigators' observations of increased paranormal activity during these times.
Yes.
Makes sense. Some of the more well-known attributes for increased paranormal phenomena would be the place's location in accordance to limestone and waterways. Now, these are both great energy conductors for the spirits to feed off of and permits them to manifest themselves in one way or another. Rivers, lakes, and oceans are fantastic energy conductors that spirits can absorb and use readily. Now, the theory behind water is a location with the source of running water has a higher chance of odd occurrences happening because the spirits are said to draw their energy from the electromagnetic fields it produces.
Yes.
Well, running water naturally creates these electromagnetic electromagnetic fields, which may be why areas around running bodies of water seem to be more haunted than others.
And that's like those natural springs, because that water just keeps coming and feeding the big pools,
I've heard of a lot of places by the natural springs and rivers and creeks that have hauntings that surround those areas.
Yes, and so we should just go on a road trip and visit all these hot springs and take a dip too.
That's right. Sounds good to me.
Now, speaking of limestone, and we'll talk a little bit about limestone here, because this building sits on big old slabs of limestone, like the whole basement here is limestone, and we do get a fair amount of activity and abnormal activity in the basement. Some of which I haven't gotten anywhere else, such as the Morse code stuff.
Oh yeah, that's fascinating.
I've never gotten that any place else I've ever been.
No.
The chemical makeup of limestone is similar to that of like a magnetic recording tape, like old time when cassette tapes. Okay. And it's therefore prone to being imprinted, just like your old cassette tapes, for those of you. Thus, they capture, and they store activity. Another theory behind limestone is that the chemical makeup is prone to drawing, storing, and releasing electromagnetic fields, in which, of course, the spirits can use to help, enhance activity or help them manifest in a certain vicinity. Now, limestone itself puts out quite a bit of EMF due to the dispersal of the elements, protons and neutrons, and more importantly, its electrons as it decays or deteriorates. It is this high EMF that I'm tongue-tied. That permits an increase in orbs, vortexes, and spirit activity. If you have a building made of limestone itself, or it's sitting on a large deposit of limestone within the soil, it's actually considered to be like a magnet, drawing energy and or spirits to that location. And we are sitting on such a find right here.
Yes, we are.
So to increase your chances of experiencing paranormal phenomena, find a place near a running body of water that is close to you or on the grounds that contain limestone. That's a perfect mix for a chance at a phenomenal ghost hunting experience. And with that, folks, we will be right back with more Ghost Talk Radio. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
listening to WB.